People come to me with the same story. A husband. Worked 30, 40 years. Good job. Good man. Decided to wait until 67 to collect Social Security, because that is what the numbers said made sense. He died at 66. Never saw a single check. His wife sat down with me afterward. She didn't ask me about the math. She asked me why nobody told them. And that question is the reason I do this. Because here is the truth. Wanting to collect at 62. To travel while your knees still work. To finally stop living on someone else's schedule. To be present for your grandchildren while you still have the energy. That is not a financial mistake. That is a human decision. A completely reasonable one. I am not here to talk you out of it. But I am here to tell you 3 things the SSA does not volunteer when you walk in to file. 3 things that have blindsided people I know personally. People who made this exact decision without knowing them. Because knowing them doesn't change whether you file at 62. It changes whether you file at 62 prepared. This is the Daniel Cross Report. I'm Daniel Cross. Let's get into it. The first thing the SSA does not put in the brochure, and the one I see cause the most damage, is called the earnings test. Here is a situation I encounter more than you would think. Someone turns 62. They are exhausted. Maybe they were laid off. Maybe their body gave out. Maybe they simply cannot do it anymore. They file for Social Security. The check arrives, and it is smaller than they expected, because of the 30% reduction we will get to in a moment. It is not enough, so they pick up part-time work, driving, retail, consulting, something to fill the gap. And then a letter arrives from the SSA. Under the 2026 earnings test, if you are collecting Social Security before your full retirement age and you earn more than $24,480 in a year, that is $2,040 a month. The SSA withholds $1 of your benefit for every $2 you earn above that limit. Real numbers. Your Social Security check at 62 is $1,400 a month. You pick up work and earn $36,000 a year, $11,520 over the limit. The SSA withholds $5,760 for the year. Nearly $480 a month gone from your check. And here is what most people do not know until it happens to them. If the withholding is large enough, the SSA can suspend your payments entirely for several months, while you are still considered to have already claimed. You filed. That clock is running. The check stopped. Now, the SSA does credit those withheld months after you reach full retirement age. Your benefit adjusts upward slightly, but you surrendered income in your early 60s, when you needed it, to receive a modest adjustment in your late 60s, when your circumstances may be entirely different. The earnings test disappears the month you reach full retirement age. After that, earn any amount. No penalty, no withholding. But between 62 and 67, that limit is real. And if you plan to keep working after filing, you need to run that math before you file, not after. The second thing the SSA will not sit you down to explain, the 30% reduction is not a temporary discount. It is permanent, and it works against you every year you are alive. People come to me convinced the reduction adjusts itself later, that the SSA corrects the numbers at some point, that it evens out. It does not. If your full retirement age benefit would be $2,000 a month, claiming at 62 locks you in at $1,400 every month for life. And every cost of living adjustment you ever receive, every CALA, every annual increase, is calculated on that $1,400 base, not the $2,000 you walked away from. The 2026 CALA is 2.8%. On a $2,000 check, that is $56 more per month. On a $1,400 check, that is $39, $17 less, every year. And the gap widens every year after that. Then Medicare arrives at 65. Medicare Part B is deducted directly from your Social Security check. In 2026, that is $202.90 a month. For someone collecting $1,400, that premium takes nearly 15% of their entire benefit. For someone collecting $2,500 or $3,000, the same $202.90 is a much smaller share of a much larger check. Same premium. Very different impact depending on the base you locked in at 62. I am not telling you these numbers to steer you away from 62. I am telling you because the SSA will not. When you sit down to file, they will process your application. They will not walk you through this math. The third thing, and this is the one that surprises people the most when they come to me after the fact. If you are 62 and not yet on Medicare, you are looking at a 3-year gap in healthcare coverage. Medicare does not begin until 65. The people I speak with who feel most trapped after filing early, it is rarely because the check is too small on its own. It is because the cost of health insurance between 62 and 65 through SUBRA or the ACA marketplace runs $600, $800, sometimes over $1,000 a month depending on your age, your location, and your income. That cost was not part of the plan when they filed, and there is something else the SSA will not tell you at the window. If you file at 62 and change your mind within the first 12 months, you can withdraw your application. You repay every dollar you received. Your benefit resets. It is as if you never filed. That window exists for 12 months. After that, it closes permanently. Most people I speak with find out about it long after it has closed. Now, 3 questions. Answer them honestly before you file. Before you submit anything on ssa.gov. Question 1. What does your health picture actually look like? And what does your family history tell you? If you are dealing with a serious health condition, or the people in your family did not make it much past their mid-70s, the math shifts significantly in favor of claiming early. The break-even point between claiming at 62 and waiting to full retirement age is around age 80 for most people. If you have real reason to believe you may not reach 80, claiming at 62 is not a mistake. It may be exactly right for your situation. Question 2. Do you have a bridge? Can you cover your living expenses and your healthcare costs from 62 to 65 without relying on Social Security? A 401k, a Roth IRA, a pension, a spouse who is still working, rental income. Any of these can serve as a bridge. If the answer is yes, you have genuine flexibility. If the answer is no, you need to understand that the check at 62, after the earnings test and after Medicare, may not cover that gap the way you are expecting. Question 3. If you are married, are you the higher earner? When one spouse passes away, the survivor keeps the larger of the 2 Social Security benefits. If you are the higher earner and you claim at 62 with a permanent 30% reduction, that reduced number becomes your spouse's income for the rest of their life. Not just yours. Delaying, even to 65 or 66, not necessarily all the way to 70, can add several $100s a month to what your spouse receives after you are gone. That is not a theoretical number. For the people who come to me after losing a spouse, it is the most real number in the room. If your answers to all 3 questions point in the same direction, you have your answer. Here's what I want you to carry from this. Filing at 62 is not the wrong decision. For many of you, it is the right one. The go-go years are real. Your health is today, not 8 years from now. The people who waited and ran out of time, their stories are true, and they matter. But the SSA is not going to tell you about the earnings test trap, the compounding gap, the healthcare cliff, or the 12-month withdrawal window. They will hand you a form and process it. That is what this report is for, to give you what the system does not. If you have already filed at 62, I want to hear from you. No regrets, or something you wish someone had told you first. Leave it in the comments. And if you are still deciding, tell me what is holding you back. Your situation may be the next report. This is the Daniel Cross Report. Subscribe if this gave you something the system did not. I will see you in the next one.